This is macOS Ken.
Financial folk react to Apple earnings. Masks may be required at your local Apple store. And a bitter battery tale. It is Thursday, the 29th of July, 2021. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from macOS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by Upstart. Fair and fast personal loans. Learn more and check your rate at upstart.com/macOSKen. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSKen. That clacking you heard Tuesday night and Wednesday morning was the sound of 1,000 keyboards typing up new research notes for clients of various firms, many with newly raised price targets. Apple 3.0 caught several. Here are some of those. Morgan Stanley analyst Katie Huberty raised her price target on Apple shares, saying the company has set itself up for a better fiscal year 2022. Demand continues to exceed even the most bullish of expectations, according to her note. That is underpinned by strong growth across all regions and products and services, as well as a recent acceleration in installed base growth and services engagement. Apple may not have enough hardware to meet demand this fall, but that's fine. Because Apple enjoys industry-leading customer loyalty rates, writes Huberty, we don't view demand as perishable, and Apple is therefore set up for a stronger December and fiscal year 2022 growth. Huberty has an overweight rating on Apple shares. She used Wednesday's note to raise her price target on the shares from $166 to $168. Oppenheimer analyst Martin Yang upped his price target on Apple shares. The apparent iPhone supercycle, plus the lack of whiz-bang from Apple competitors, set the company up for a period of accelerating share gains across product categories in his estimation. Oppenheimer has an outperform rating on Apple shares. Yang upped his price target on the shares from $160 to $165. Evercore analyst Amit Daryanani pushed his target higher. Quoting his note, debate on peak cycle will persist for a while, but fundamentally we see a trifecta of levers in place for Apple to keep climbing higher. 1. iPhone 5G cycle that is still early in adoption. 2. Monetization of install base across services and wearables. And 3. Improved profitability and free cash flow as gross margins stay higher. AdRock's got an outperform rating on Apple shares. He upped his price target on the shares from $175 to $180. JP Morgan analyst Samik Chatterjee thinks the strength of iPhone 12, plus the usual run-up in Apple shares ahead of an iPhone launch, plus lowered investor expectations for iPhone 13, equals a very attractive setup for the shares in the second half of this year. Chatman has an overweight rating on Apple shares. He used Wednesday's note to up his price target on the shares from $165 to $170. Wedbush analyst Daniel Ives was, no surprise, impressed. He's argued that iPhone 12 was the start of an iPhone supercycle. In his opinion, Apple's June numbers support that argument. Ives thinks Apple will hit a market cap of $3 trillion in the next 12 months. His price target is already sky high, though. He's sticking with his outperform rating on Apple shares and his price target of $185. B of A Merrill Lynch analyst Wamsi Mohan is worried about COVID-19. He was markedly impressed with Apple's phenomenal growth last quarter. However, he writes, our concern remains that if the Delta variant of COVID creates further lockdowns, Apple could be faced with the dual headwinds of tougher compares and weaker demand in hardware, only modestly offset by any services re-acceleration. As concerns go, those are sensible, though some might argue a bit too cautious. Mr. Mohan has a neutral rating on Apple shares. His price target on the shares is $160. Now there's wrong, then there's wrong, then there's Bernstein research analyst Tony Sacconaghi. He's had a market perform rating on Apple shares for I don't know how long at this point. His price target's at $132. Apple is currently trading at about $145. For the third consecutive quarter, says his note, Apple's results blew out consensus expectations. So now, of course, he is worried that they are too good. Ironically, says his note, strength in the quarter and this year makes us modestly more cautious about fiscal year 2022, and we see parallels with the iPhone 6 and iPhone 10 cycles. Parallels that Tim Cook addressed by pointing out that we're at the bottom of the first where global 5G adoption is concerned, but it's Tony Sacconaghi. It is seriously always something with that guy. In the wake of Apple's numbers, Apple Insider ran an interesting piece on how wrong most of the financial analysts were. Like, seriously, the piece said who they were, said what they expected, then said by how much they missed. Then they said why, in terms so forgiving it almost makes you wonder why they bothered dunking on them in the first place. After paragraphs of here's who's wrong by how much, the piece says financial analysts can't actually predict the future any better than other people, and Apple isn't helping as it continues to not give guidance for the next quarter. While most of them were wrong about the June quarter, there were some good reasons to believe that Q3 2021 would end up closer to consensus. Reasons like the June quarter is historically Apple's slowest. Warnings of supply constraints for iPad and Mac rang in the ears of the analysts. iPhone sales usually slow this time of year as people start to anticipate new ones coming in the fall. So beat them up if you want to. There are reasons to cut them some slack with, if you'll forgive me for saying so, some seriously notable exceptions. Going back to masking against COVID-19 does not sound like fun. But what if we say it to the tune of LL Cool J's Going Back to Cali? Okay, still not fun, but somewhat musical. Anyway, if you're going to an Apple store soon, there is a better than good chance that you are going back to masking. Bloomberg ran a report Wednesday saying Apple plans to restore a mask requirement at most of its U.S. retail stores, in effect for both staff and customers, vaccinated or not. The report says that is expected to start today. In an email to staff seen by Bloomberg, Apple told the troops after carefully reviewing the latest CDC recommendations and analyzing the health and safety data for your local area, we are updating our guidance on face masks for your store. Starting the 29th of July, face masks will be required in-store for customers and team members, even if they're vaccinated. Apple says it's doing this out of an abundance of caution, though apparently not an overabundance. Bloomberg says the mask-up mandate is being put in place for more than half of Apple's U.S. stores, not all. Also, get vaxxed, says Apple. In the memo to staff, the company said Apple encourages everyone who is eligible to receive a COVID-19 vaccine to take it. Please talk to your doctor and decide what's right for you. Because your doctor's going to say, get vaxxed. It's interesting that Apple is encouraging retail staff to get vaccinated. Interesting because it sounds like Tim Cook's considering requiring COVID-19 vaccines for office workers before they head back to the office. The delay on that has been confirmed, by the way, and this whole thing gets kind of weird. A piece from Apple Insider says CNBC posted to Twitter on Wednesday with news that Google will require employees to get the COVID vaccine and that it has postponed return to work until October. CNBC's Josh Lipton responded to that tweet with another Twitter post saying Tim Cook spoke with him Tuesday about the same issue at Apple, followed by a quote from Cook. Our main focus right now is on when to come back. We pushed it from early September to at least October. We are monitoring things daily to really conclude whether that is the right answer or not. The wording's a little squishy, but it sounds like Lipton saying that Cook is saying that they're trying to decide whether requiring a COVID-19 vaccine would be the way to go. Quick aside, a piece from TechCrunch says, like Google, Facebook will require employees to be vaccinated before returning to campus. Better hope they don't check Facebook first, huh? More news in a moment, but first a word from Upstart. Fair and fast personal loans. Whether it's paying off credit cards, consolidating high-interest debt, or funding personal expenses, over 500,000 people have used Upstart to get a simple, fixed monthly payment. Neat idea, right? Turning bills of various rates into one easy-to-manage figure. Upstart looks at more than your credit score, factoring in income and employment history. That lets them offer smarter rates with trusted partners. The Wall Street Journal says Upstart's model has expanded credit access and encouraged other lenders to explore ways to lend to more people with no or limited credit history. With a 5-minute online rate check, you can see your rate up front for loans between $1,000 to $50,000, and you can receive funds as fast as 1 business day after accepting your loan. Find out how Upstart can lower your monthly payments today when you go to upstart.com/macOSKen. UPSTART, that's upstart.com/macOSKen. Don't forget to use my URL to let them know that I sent you. Loan amounts will be determined based on your credit, income, and certain other information provided in your loan application. Go to upstart.com/macOSKen. If you're excited about Apple's return to the National Association of Broadcasters convention this year, maybe find something else about which to get excited. Kind of looks like Apple's not going. Word was that Apple was listed among the attendees for this year's NAB. Earlier this week, a piece from Apple Insider said an update to the NAB show website, spotted by Apple Scoop, shows Apple in a list of organizations attending in 2021, alongside Disney, ABC, CBS, DreamWorks, ESPN, and that list goes on. Now that site's been updated again, minus one Cupertino company. Another report from Apple Insider says the National Association of Broadcasters has quietly removed the reference to Apple, while leaving all other previously identified attendees intact. Apple's out with another round of betas for the public testers. Mac Rumors ran 2 pieces on that yesterday. One said that the third betas for iOS 15, iPadOS 15, watchOS 8, and tvOS 15 were out to the group. The other said that the group also had access to the third beta of macOS Monterey. If you're in the program, you probably know how to get those betas. If you're not in the program but want to be, you can learn more and sign up at beta.apple.com. And finally today, I know that kids swallowing the button batteries found in AirTag and other devices is not funny. But there is something about the stuff around it that, I feel bad, but it makes me laugh. Mac Rumors has a story under the headline, Apple says don't buy AirTag replacement batteries with bitter coating. Because Duracell makes those. According to Duracell, according to Mac Rumors, hundreds of lithium coin batteries are accidentally swallowed by children each year, and those batteries can cause a harmful chemical reaction. Again, that is not funny. But Duracell and some other battery makers have started putting a bitter coating on the button batteries to keep kids from keeping the batteries in their mouths, and for some reason, to me, that is funny. The non-toxic bitter coating reacts with saliva and is meant to deter swallowing, according to the report. Sounds like the problem is, addressed, if not solved, except for the part where Apple says, do not use the bitter batteries. According to the Cupertino company's battery replacement support doc, batteries with bitterant coatings might not work with AirTag or other battery-powered products, depending on the alignment of the coating in relation to the battery contacts. Hey, has anybody considered keeping AirTag out of reach of children? Also, I know I'm an idiot, but I really want to taste the bitter stuff that Duracell is putting on its batteries. But I'm not going to put one of the batteries in my mouth. How about Birdie Bot's Battery Bitterant Beans. Now available in Diagon Alley, Slugworth's, or wherever questionable candy is sold. Coming up in a few minutes, just like JT with Sexy, rumor and speculation have Apple bringing MagSafe back to the MacBook line. The After Show co-host Mike Rose and I talk about the bygone, perhaps soon-to-return connector. The show is called In a Few Minutes. Look for it and listen on macosken.com or wherever you get podcasts. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and sponsored by Upstart. Fair and fast personal loans. Learn more and check your rate at upstart.com/macOSken. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSken. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media. Online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. info@macosken.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.